Hey there, my name is Taryn and I'm a volunteer with the Hillsdale County Career Access Planning, or HCCAP for short. HCCAP is devoted to helping high school students find a career after they graduate. As a student, I know the obstacles that money can pose to going to college after you graduate high school, and my video today is going to address that very topic. I'm going to show you how to find, apply for, and win college scholarships that can help you avoid major college debt. So are you ready to learn how to save money all while going to your favorite school? Let's get started. So I'll give you a little background on why I'm talking to you about this topic today. I'm a student, like I said, and I am projected to graduate debt-free. I say projected because I haven't graduated yet, but I will graduate from Hillsdale College completely debt-free and with money in the bank, and it is all because I was able to find, apply for, and win local and national outside scholarships. Outside scholarships are scholarships that are coming not from the college that you're applying to. So I understand there are colleges that will offer you scholarships from their own institution. They'll say, because of your GPA, because of this on your resume, we're gonna give you, this much money off of your tuition. I'm not gonna talk about that today because I believe the more important untapped area where you can easily win a lot more money to cover other expenses like books, room, and board are gonna come from outside local and national organizations. And I'm gonna give a little bit more detail about what those organizations are in a little bit. So today, I'm gonna share with you the 5 simple steps to finding and winning outside scholarships. And there's gonna be a little acronym that I share with you so that you remember all of these 5 tips. It'll be easy, and that acronym is CHAMP. And this acronym I do owe to my sister, Ryan Kelly Murphy, who actually has her own business called Scholarship Navigator, where if you're interested after this talk, you can have one-on-one coaching sessions to learn also how to do the same thing, to find scholarships for college. But right now I'm gonna be working off of that acronym that she has and that I used, and we both were able to graduate debt-free from college. So let's start with the first letter. The first letter in our acronym is C, and that stands for change your thinking. Okay, what do I mean by this? Well, when I say scholarship winner, who do you think of? It probably wasn't yourself, and a lot of students feel that same way. They think, I don't have the perfect grades, I'm not a star athlete, I'm not, on the track to cure cancer, why could I win a scholarship? And that's the #1 thing I want you to change right now, because you wouldn't believe all the scholarship opportunities there are out there for all kinds of different people. And most of the time, they aren't really taking grades into account. They want to learn more about your overall character, what you're doing outside of school. So an example of 2 questions that I often run into on scholarship applications, or that I did run into, are, #1, what is a challenge you have overcome? Keep in mind, this doesn't ask about your grades. And second, what is volunteerism you have done and how has that impacted you as a person? So those are just some examples to show you that you do have what it takes to be a scholarship winner, and I'm gonna talk about that later. So the second letter in our acronym is H, and that stands for hone in on local opportunities. So if you type scholarship into your web browser, the first thing that's gonna pop up are all the huge national scholarships that everyone is gonna apply for. Now these are really tempting because there's a lot of money involved. Take for example, the Coca-Cola scholarship or the Burger King scholarship. I applied for both of these scholarships and I didn't get them. But do you know how I paid for college? All through local scholarships. So here's a list, and you can write these down if you want, of local organizations that you should be looking at because oftentimes they do have scholarships. So these are private organizations, community foundations, local businesses, churches, volunteer groups, charitable foundations, thrift stores, we have a couple right here in Hillsdale, law firms, credit unions, utility providers, if you can believe it, corporations, and social clubs. Now I know that's a long list, but let me be more specific. So we have here in Hillsdale the Elks Lodge. Did you know that the Elks Foundation has a scholarship where you submit an essay and you can win money and you can achieve, you can go from the local level to the state level all the way to the national level. And I won that scholarship, and that is what is helping me pay for Hillsdale right now. Another example is the American Legion. This is a veteran organization that puts on a speech contest every year. Now you may be thinking, well, I'm afraid to speak, that's not really up my alley. Did you know the first year that I competed, first of all, I was terrified. No one else showed up. So I won by default, and I won a couple $100 just from showing up. So again, there's always a good chance that you can win because people don't really know about these. One last one that I'll tell you guys about is VFW, and that stands for Veterans of Foreign Wars. That is another veteran association that also has an essay contest, and I also won that scholarship, and I believe we have a couple of those headquarters right here in Michigan. It might not be in Hillsdale, but you can apply no matter where it is in your state. So those are some tips I have for honing in on local opportunities. And again, go back in the video to that list I gave, start typing in churches that you know of in Hillsdale, credit unions, local businesses. The more specific you get, the more likely you are to find scholarships from places right here in our own town. The third letter in our acronym is A, and that stands for Apply Like a Boss. What do I mean by that? Well, do you remember just a couple seconds ago, maybe a minute ago, I talked about how I showed up to that speech contest and literally there was no one else there, so I just won it by default. That was fantastic. Do you know that happens all the time with local scholarship opportunities? So in my hometown, there was a scholarship for $8,000 and the word went out to all the schools and all the students heard about it and everyone just had the news about this $8,000 scholarship. Well, when the time came around for the scholarship winner to be chosen, do you know how many applicants they had to choose from? Not 500, not 100, not 10, 0. Literally 0 people applied for the scholarship and no one won it. So if one person had just submitted an application, no matter how terrible they were, they would have literally won the $8,000. Now, I'm not saying this is gonna happen with every opportunity, but I am saying that if you have enough motivation to just submit an application, you are already 100 million steps ahead of all the other students who just didn't follow through. So that is my third tip for you. Apply, just apply. You would be surprised how many people just don't do that step and then they never end up winning the money. And you, who may consider yourself an average Joe, could win that scholarship. So we've come to the fourth letter in our acronym, and that is M, and it stands for Market Your Accomplishments. So do you remember at the very beginning I was saying you do not need to be a straight A student, you do not need to be the star athlete, because judges are pretty much looking for 2 basic things on a scholarship application. They are looking for leadership and they are looking for volunteerism. So maybe you're thinking, well, I'm not really that much of a leader. I'm not really that much of a volunteer. Well, there's probably something you're already doing that you can turn into those things. You just need to look at the things you're doing and realize you're probably already doing some really awesome things for the community. So let me give you some examples. Maybe you really like skateboarding and you spend an hour a week teaching at-risk kids how to skateboard. That's something you can include in a scholarship essay. Or maybe you really love to bake with your friends and sometimes you donate that to the police station or to local veteran organizations. That's something you can put on a scholarship application. Or maybe you really love to sew blankets and sometimes you give those to the local old folks home. Again, something that you can market as an accomplishment, as leadership, as volunteerism. An example of this is I had a friend who ended up winning a scholarship because she happened to remember that she sewed some hats for preemie babies at the local hospital. And this was something she just liked to do anyway. She liked to make little hats for dolls that she had. And she heard that the local hospital needed these hats for the newborn babies because they didn't really have hair to keep their heads warm. And so she donated a couple of her hats to the hospital and realized that this was actually a really awesome thing that she had done. And she put that on the scholarship application and she ended up winning. Now, here's another totally different, but also kind of like similar way that a student thought to market themselves. So there was this scholarship application that asked, it was actually specifically for students that had disabilities, but it didn't specify what kind of disabilities. So one of my friends, he was born with a lot of food allergies and he kind of felt awkward applying for the scholarship. He was like, I don't know, There are gonna be kids out there who have a lot worse problems, but I'm just gonna talk about the way that, my severe allergies have really affected my life, and they've changed the way I interact with people, it's changed social situations, but it's also helped me to be kinder to other people and realize that they're going through things as well. So he submits this scholarship and he won the scholarship. He won $7,000 in scholarship money just because he took a risk. He looked at something in his life that maybe he would have never thought of before as a way to tell a story or something that shed light on his character. But once he sat back and thought about something that was affecting his life, or maybe a situation he was in, or something he was already doing for the community, he was able to market that and win the scholarship. And you can do that too, I'm sure of it. Okay, so we've come to our final tip to how to find, apply for, and win college scholarships, and that is our last letter, P, which stands for plan the time to apply. So I get it. You are a very busy high school student. You got friends to hang out with, you got things to do, people to see, places to go, and you're like, well, scholarships sound great, but I just don't really have the time to apply for them or to write that essay. But think about it this way, and this is how my mom would tell me to think about it, because I hated doing scholarship applications. But this is how my mom put it. Okay, so say you're applying for a scholarship that has a $1,000 reward. If you spend 5 hours on that application, just 5, and you win, you get paid $200 an hour for your efforts. That's incredible. Okay, but let's put even more time into it. Let's say you literally spend 20 hours on that scholarship application. You would still be paid $50 an hour if you win that scholarship, which is pretty much 5 times more anything you'd be making working a job or a part-time job that you have. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a part-time job. You should, that's really important for scholarships too. But take the time to apply for these scholarships because it literally pays off in the end. All right, so we've gone through all those 5 letters which spell champ. You really are a champ, I promise. You may not think of yourself as a champ, but you are. And I hope that these 5 tips encourage you. Number 1, that you can be a scholarship winner. There's not one of you watching this video right now that can't win scholarships. And number 2, that there are lots of hidden gems out there. So after this video, if you have the time, I want you to hop on your browser and just type in Hillsdale Local Veteran Organization Scholarships, Hillsdale Business Scholarships, Hillsdale Churches Scholarships. There are going to be things that start popping up that you probably would have never dreamed existed. If you enjoyed the tips that I shared in this video, I hope you enjoyed the rest of HCCAP's collection, which is on YouTube. Our channel is called Explore Careers Hillsdale, and you'll find all kinds of other videos on there about preparing for a career after high school. A couple examples of the videos are Is College Right for You? And another video I recommend is called Mentorship. Hit subscribe and you'll receive all the videos after that. I hope you enjoy, and thank you so much for watching.